unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxing Ego Unpacked. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Anthony Joshua continues to mention Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, even though it looks like he's gonna face KUBRAT Pulev. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We definitely working. Sign up for ESPN Plus below using my link. It definitely helps the channel, and I appreciate everyone who's already used my link to help support the channel in such a phenomenal way. Now, let's talk about it. Joshua keeps mentioning Deontay Wilder and even to a degree Tyson Fury, but mostly Wilder. And it's funny because a simple Google search will reveal what we already know, which is Joshua is likely to face KUBRAT Pulev. And then when you do a Google search, just type in Anthony Joshua Pulev, the top stories: fighting KUBRAT Pulev was not part of Anthony Joshua's 2020 plan. Right? You see other articles. ESPN 7 days ago, Anthony Joshua poised to face KUBRAT Pulev after IBF extends. 4 days ago, Hearn expects to finalize Joshua Pulev in coming weeks, etc., etc. Right? So it's looking like they are going to fight, and they're hashing it out. That is a mandatory for Joshua, who reclaimed his belts in December, beating Andy Ruiz. So I'm just curious why Joshua keeps mentioning Wilder and is nonstop talking about Wilder, giving fight predictions for Wilder Fury. Eddie Hearn's giving his predictions on how many buys Wilder Fury 2 will do. Joshua's mentioning Wilder, saying he wants to throw a curveball and fight the winner, and the Wilder fight must have. Everything surrounding Joshua has his recent career since reclaiming his titles has been clout chasing. And I think that's a bad look, and it just goes to show you the tables have turned. So I want to say shout out to everyone with new media for believing in us and just rocking with the movement, because I've been dab smack on when it comes to this particular situation, I believe, and a lot of what I told you. Eddie Hearn was playing games and questioning random Samaritans passing by in New York, asking who Deontay Wilder is. And fast forward to the future, now Eddie Hearn and Joshua won't shut up about Wilder. So obviously he's done a remarkable job, him and his team, along with new media, to increase his brand and his standings in the sports world, because his next event, which is already scheduled February 22nd, I already have a hotel room. You know, it's been booked. We all know it's going down. And all of a sudden, Team Joshua, their whole existence is talking about Wilder. And you notice Wilder ain't really talking about them. If he's being questioned, maybe he says something here and there, but the damage is already done, people. He smoked him out, a man of his word, and now he hasn't overly had to stress Joshua. Joshua had a pretty disastrous 2019. He did get his belts back, but he lost them in bad fashion. A lot of people felt he quit. 4 knockdowns, lost every round. You know, even the round he almost won. But in boxing, we know almost doesn't count. And then he did reclaim his titles, but it wasn't the most impressive thing. It wasn't like this Floyd Mayweather-esque boxing exhibition. And I think old media, sometimes they throw things out and hope people will bite onto it, but I haven't really heard anyone bite onto that. And you know, beyond when the fight first happened, some people were trying to compare it to Mayweather, but new media came in and shut that down. It wasn't a Mayweather type of performance. Joshua did what he had to do, point blank. A lot of questions still unanswered from that type of performance. Andy Ruiz didn't do himself any favors, and it just wasn't all that as a fight. But Joshua did get his belts back, and it looks like he's fighting KUBRAT Pulev. So I think DAZN and Eddie Hearn and Rematch Room, they're really going to have to work 2020 to establish themselves in America, they're going to have to work on like less clout chasing and more producing. That's what it's all about. I keep hearing about Dillian White talking about Wilder, Dillian White talking about Andy Ruiz. And then the fight that looks probably the most likely that they have mentioned somewhat is Dillian White versus Povetkin. But we're hearing a lot of noise and a lot less talk about the Povetkin fight, which looks like the most realistic fight that they'll be able to make next for Dillian White. And we're hearing more about Dillian White in headlines talking about Wilder, saying he's a bum, he's boxing's biggest coward. You know, Andy Ruiz likes to eat chocolate and he doesn't want to fight and just come and fight me. So to me, I think it's just a bad look. And, you know, I think people in America are starting to catch on more so, and just people around the world. The games are over. People just want to see fights delivered, the good fights. And my pledge to boxing, and I've been on this hype for a while, but definitely in 2020, is just help clean up the sport, less clout chasing, just more of what's being delivered. You know, people are like stuck in the Mayweather Pacquiao era where they want you to build up their fights, but then the fights aren't being delivered. You know, we control the narrative now. New media. It's a whole different dawn. Digital mob. You know, it's the digital game, the digital era. Everything you say, just, you know, be accountable for what you say, because at the end of the day, there's a paper trail. Everything's documented. More and more people are growing and using YouTube, you know, as a platform to speak their thoughts. So it's all down on wax of what everyone said, good or bad. You know, interviews from Eddie Hearn then and now. And when I look at the then and now with Joshua and Eddie Hearn, they've been made to eat a lot of their words. Eddie Hearn, he said in 2017, late 2017, after DAZN like first started being announced or whatever, he says, over my dead body, you can Google this, over my dead body will Wilder ever get 50-50. But if you look at the more recent interviews since DAZN's been failing and Wilder has grown his stock and become the face of boxing, now Eddie Hearns is saying that, okay, we have to give Wilder Fury 2 winner 50-50. It's the only way. You know, now he's talking about wanting, you know, all this stuff, clout chasing, talking about, I want to fight Wilder. I want Anthony Joshua to fight Wilder Fury in Saudi Arabia. We got offered so much money, just trying to use whatever in or leverage that they feel they can to bring the attraction back to Joshua, since he got taken down several notches. You know, people wanted to see, the bottom line is this is what boxing, let this fight with Wilder and Joshua that has yet to happen, let this be a lesson. Strike while the iron's hot. 2 undefeated fighters, both African-American, one from the US, one from the UK, 2 at the time revered power punchers, but we see Wilder's, he stayed true to the knockout artist title. Joshua's last 2 performances, I mean, he didn't knock out a 5-week train Ruiz, and you know, he used a lot of movement and outpointed Andy Ruiz and didn't look to commit or engage. So that knockout artist, we know Joshua has power, but is now in question. It doesn't look the same as how Eddie Hearn and Rematch Room built Joshua. You get what I'm saying? So that's why you got to strike while the iron's hot in boxing. Do and make the fights that the fans are requesting, because you never know what's going to happen. You just seen J-Rock get upset by Jason Rosario, who lost to a guy that J-Rock beat. You know, you can't make sense of this stuff. So I just feel Joshua's profile has taken a major hit and dip. Most people have either Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder number 1 and 2. Most people. I haven't really seen many people who have Joshua 1 or 2, or even think that Joshua has the strongest chance to beat Wilder Fury, especially the winner of that fight. You know, I don't know if one of them loses and then Joshua fights the loser. I don't know about that, but I'm talking about the actual winner of that fight. They'll be the biggest star in boxing, and they'll definitely be the biggest in the heavyweight division, one belt or not, because it's a meaningful fight. It's being promoted by 2 networks, good promotion. So I just want boxing to get back realistic, you know, less games and clout chasing. It's madness. It's pure madness to see all the articles that are supplementing and supporting the theory that Joshua fights his mandatory Pulev, yet all the headlines are about what Joshua thinks about Wilder Fury Part 2. Eddie Hearn guessing something that's none of his business about how many pay-per-view buys. It's like window shopper behavior. You're just get out the way. You talking to a salesperson and taking up all their time, and you're a window shopper. That's what I feel like, you know. So you got this salesperson who is showing you what this washer and dryer can do with this appliance store, and going down all the features and giving you demos on the vacuum, and you have no intentions of really buying, you know. You have no intentions, or you don't have the money to actually, you want to maybe buy, but you know you can't afford this Dyson vacuum. It's just like you're in the way, and then somebody comes in the store and they're just waiting, and they have the money in their bank account or a credit card they can use, and they're ready to actually purchase. And you know, the sales specialist is fooling around, wasting time on doing a demo for somebody who really can't afford to buy or is not in a position to buy for whatever reason. It's just like you're just in the way. You get what I'm saying? And that's kind of how I feel with this clout chasing. You got a lot of people who are talking this, that, and oh, I want this fight, but it's kind of just nonsense. You know, why does Eddie Hearn care about the pay-per-view buys? He's on an app. He don't have to worry about network TV and linear platforms. Why does he care with Fox and ESPN, something he has nothing to do with either organization or Showtime? He constantly cares about predicting how many numbers Errol Spence and Porter's gonna do, or Wilder Fury. And this is the same man that said Wilder Fury 1 wouldn't even happen, and Fury was gonna pull out of the fight and disappoint people. So it's just like, I can't take this serious. And Joshua himself had all of 2018 to fight Wilder, and now all of a sudden, after his stock has dropped and Wilder's stock has risen, now he wants to talk about Wilder. You know, this team is just too all over the place. Joshua, before he came past Ruiz, he says, don't talk to me about Wilder. I don't want to talk about him. But now, because you got your titles back and you got past it, there was a lot of pressure on Joshua for that fight. So salute to him for getting past it and getting his belts back. But he didn't want to talk about Wilder. Now Wilder's engaged in a big fight, the biggest announced fight for 2020. And now you want to talk about him on your terms? You know, now you're saying you want 70-30 after a disastrous last year and being stopped and dropped 4 times, and Wilder's star power is growing, and then February 22nd will determine the #1 heavyweight. None of this stuff makes sense. It is all hyperbole. It is all purely conjecture and clout chasing. And I think it makes Team Joshua in Rematch Room look bad, because they're more concerned with other people's events than their own, with other people's careers and career path. And you know, they're locked in. Frank Warren just got on Eddie Hearn and Joshua and says he's talking rubbish. He's talking rubbish because he knows that it's very expensive to try to throw this curveball or break Tyson Fury Wilder 2 and 3 from happening, try to break it up some kind of way. It doesn't make any sense. You know, you have 2 different networks. Why? Like, let's say Wilder loses. You think he doesn't want to get his belt back? So, of course, he's going to go after Tyson Fury again. You know, if Fury loses, why would he just let Joshua pay him some step aside money when he can make pay-per-view money fighting Wilder a 3rd time? You know, he's just going to stand aside. I don't see it. DAZN doesn't offer a pay-per-view model at the moment, which if they do, then they just shot themselves in the foot, because they came in the game saying pay-per-view is dead. None of this stuff really makes sense to me. Let me know in the comment section if it makes sense to you. The only thing I can deem it as is clout chasing, and they know that Wilder's the hottest in the heavyweight division and in boxing right now, and they know the hottest fight is Wilder Fury 2. 2 good showmen, 2 good fighters, 2 networks, a lot of 2s, 22 2s, and now they can't stop talking about it. But where was this energy from Joshua and Eddie Hearn to give like how all of a sudden, when Wilder's locked into a 2 and 3 fight with Fury, from all we know, right, they have this deal in place, and then a 3rd fight deal in place, or an option for that. Now all of a sudden Eddie Hearn is saying, okay, we have to give the winner 50-50. And then Joshua ain't even saying that. He's saying 70-30. But But why is Eddie Hearn? First, Wilder only deserved a flat fee of 12.5 to 17 million. But now you're saying he deserves 50-50. But before it was over my dead body. You know, you have Joshua, who's previously saying, don't mention Wilder to me. I'm not chasing them guys. And then now he won't stop talking to him. So it sounds like you're chasing them. This team is all over the place and is hurting their brand in America. The UK, they might just ride with it just because of that's their compatriot. I don't know. But I think it's a bad look because it's too much double talk and contradictions and just things that they've been made to switch. From asking people on the streets of New York who Wilder is to clout chasing him. It's just a bad look because Wilder stayed his course, didn't sign to DAZN, didn't fight Dillian Whyte, really didn't do anything you wanted him to do, and you didn't give him the Joshua fight. Now Joshua's image and his profile has forever been kind of shaped because it's not as shocking when you see someone lose in the fashion he lost to Andy Ruiz. If he were to lose again, we've already seen it could get bad for him versus an undefeated fighter. So I think this is a lesson for boxing. Eddie Hearn and Joshua definitely should have struck while the iron was hot, but all this double talk and clout chasing and incessantly talking about Wilder now when they're locked up, when he's locked in with the fights with Fury part 2 and 3, it just shows a level of desperation. And that's just how I see it. Let me know what you guys think. If you love what I'm doing, smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego, signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.